Whoa!
Notice anything different about me, Brett?
Yes, there he is. Look at that. Wow. Our guy Lofa is rocking some pretty awesome facial hair right now. Is that for Movember?
It is. It is for, men's health and,
Yes.
And cancer. And, so
Yes.
I figured I'd throw it out there. I don't know how long I'll stay with this. It's a very awkward feeling.
I love it, dude. That Muzzy is on fire.
I mean, it's known as the crossbar, which I think is appropriate for football.
Yeah. So, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
It looks like an upside down goalpost. Yeah. Your nose would be what's sticking in the ground. And then
do a handstand right now.
Go to our Instagram, everybody. Check out Lofa's Movember stash that he's rocking. I went with just a full goatee myself, which is,
it's strong to quite strong.
Right? Raising awareness for men's health and men's cancers and all the charity that goes along with that. Movember.org, I believe, is the website, or Movember.com if you guys want to check it out and get into it. Did you Google image different facial hair to come up with that one?
I didn't really have a choice. I think a mustache is just my dad rocked a mustache, and I don't know. I guess maybe he pulled it off, but I don't think I can do it.
Oh, yeah.
Not with that attitude, right? So
yeah, not with that attitude.
I went with a little extra flair.
Nice.
I really wanted the whiskers, but I wasn't prepared,
Yeah, you need more lead time. I mean, if you keep that thing going all through Movember, maybe.
I mean, if we win this week, do we play playoff beards already?
Absolutely, man. This is a huge game against the Packers.
Just roll it right into a playoff beard?
I think if they win this game, we keep this thing going.
We'll see.
Speaking of getting this thing going, this is a big episode. We got a special guest, Ben Obomanu, joining us. We got to talk about the Packers and all that. Russ coming back, OBJ. You want to get into it?
Oh, let's roll.
All right, let's do it. Let's hit the theme song.
Let's get this crowd going now. Come on, get him up, get him up, get him up. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh.
Lofa Tatupu is up in the mix.
Go Hawks.
I'm just about that action, boss.
Takes the snap. He's going to throw down the middle. What a catch.
It's intercepted by Lofa Tatupu.
Holy catfish.
Hey, that's great football now.
It's going to work now. Keep playing.
Who's got my back?
I got your back.
That's Lofa. The player.
Trouble plant. Thunder. On one, ready, play.
Russell looking. Russell scrambling. Pump faking. Still looking. Now he spins out.
We got to fly, baby.
40 down the far sideline. He's still moving. He's going to go. 20, 10. They do it again. Touchdown. 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 Seahawks.
Seahawks podcast on the Believe Sports Network with perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing. You guys out there don't really know what I'm talking about, but all of us behind the scenes know what I'm talking about. This is perfect timing on this podcast. Our guy, Ben Obomanu, number 87 in your programs from back in the day, wide receiver extraordinaire with the Seahawks. Auburn Tiger is joining us on this episode, and we couldn't be happier about it. And the timing on this was perfect. We were just going to do our kind of cold open and then still wait for him to jump back on, but he jumped back on in the meantime, and this was perfect. What's up, Ben?
Hold on. Hey, West Coast offense, on time, at the right spot where you need to be. So, receiver.
Well played.
Yeah, that's how I got to be, man.
That's right, man. Well, anyway, guys, this is the Seahawks podcast. Thank you for listening. If you guys have thoughts, questions, comments, you can email those to seahawkspod@gmail.com. That's seahawkspod@gmail.com. I'm Seahawks superfan Brett Davern. He's Seahawks legend Lofa Tatupu. He's Seahawks legend Ben Obomanu. And on this episode, guys, there's a lot to unpack in this bye week. Russ is coming back. We got OBJ rumors out there. Aaron Rodgers, everything that's going on with him. So a lot to talk about here. And I'm also on the wrong screen for my rundown. Hold on. I knew that would happen because I put it in a different place. And now I'm going to vamp. And we don't have to cut any of this out. It's fine. I'm going to do all this in real time. Just leave it. This is
Let it ride.
Fault. Where is the text message from producer Katie? I can't find it. Oh, man, this is bad. Oh, here it is. Here, I got it. There we go. Everybody, order is restored. Lofa's upset, but I'm just going to keep rolling. I'm just going to keep rolling. It's fine.
It's probably a good time to talk about our sponsors. BetOnline.ag.
Yes.
Maybe you've heard of them.
Yes.
That's usually where we go from here. I don't know.
BetOnline.ag, everybody. We're back and better than ever. The new web interface and the start of basketball season means more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website and sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code
Believe50, BLEAV 50.
That's right. From basketball to football, baseball, postseason, NHL, boxing, UFC, Vegas casino games, and everything else, betonline.ag is the place to go. They're a great sponsor. They support us. We hope that you support them. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, guys. So like I said, big week this week. Russ has been cleared for takeoff. QB3 is back. Ben, your thoughts?
It's exciting, man. I think Russ is coming back a little bit, sooner than what most of us would have anticipated. But those of us that know Russ, it's not a surprise to any of us, man. I'm pretty sure you've seen the videos, him working out, him training. Even the last couple of games on pregame warm-up, he's been out there, mentally getting those mental reps. People, have had different comments about him going on the field and doing a full, no huddle drill before the game.
Oh, who? I didn't hear anybody making fun of him for that.
There's a lot of haters out there on the East Coast, that side of town.
There's a couple haters on the West Coast too, if you know what I mean.
Oh man, but listen, that's Russell though. So Russell, I think him coming back, he's mentally prepared. The big question, just physically, I've had a hand injury before, and I know how I had to adapt and kind of still going to that first week back from a hand injury, trying to figure out how do I get tackled, how do I, ball up my fist when I get ready to have contact with him. I think throwing the ball will be fine. I think gripping the ball will be fine. But the real test would be, when he hits the ground, how does he, hold himself up, prop himself up, and how does he feel around the pocket getting the ball up? I think it's still great news to have Russ back. That's his leadership ability on the sideline and now on the field. It's probably the biggest thing Seahawks needs going into, this big game this week.
Lofa, what got you more excited? Russell saying he's coming back, or the picture that he Instagrammed of himself coming back showing off the guns?
I mean, the guy, he's in top shape. Even 5 weeks off doesn't hold him back. And you saw the workouts over and over, but that's what we expect from Russ. And everything that Obo said, but then I just want to echo the sentiment that the leadership aspect and just the energy and the juice he provides to the team and the belief, because that's the difference in winning and losing, my friend. The belief that you're going to win. And he has in spades, man. He's been the guy fastest to 100 wins in NFL history. So it's just having that calming factor back that he always provides, whenever the game's on the line. Mm-hmm. He's like, just give me the ball and I'll go end it for us.
Well, and the opposing team probably has to game plan a little bit differently, right, guys? Much respect to Geno, admirable job in there. We all like the way that he played, but it gets a little different probably when the other team is preparing for Russell Wilson, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a good one. Yeah.
Go ahead, Obo.
No, I think so. I think the thing about it is with Russ, he's always had that improv skill, right? And it's not just, and people think of it as improv during the play, but he sees coverage as well. He knows that offense. He takes command of, sending Lockett and DK Metcalf where he needs them to be. And I think that's what you missed most of all. You talked about, ending the game and having that belief, Lofa. You talked about that. Like the last couple of games, going down to that game-winning drive and having an opportunity for a game-winning drive. And the Seahawks weren't successful, a couple of games this season. But a guy like Russell in the game, that belief factor, believing, okay, we do get the ball back. We had the ball last. We're going to score. We're going to win the game. Mm-hmm. And I think from an offensive standpoint as well, just knowing that when he audibles and he checks the plays and when he gets to the right coverage and right blocking schemes, there are going to be plays wide open because of that very reason. They haven't game planned for Russell this week. They're trying to figure out how successful he's going to be. He's going to have the same velocity on the ball, but it's kind of tough to plan for a guy. You don't know if he's 100%. You don't know if he's going to run the ball. You have no clue. And I think that may give the Seahawks the best advantage going in because Russell, hasn't played. So those last couple, weeks of game film has all been Geno. Now you got to go back a couple weeks before that and figure out, what's the game plan for us.
Well, Lofa, what's going on in the defensive meeting rooms for the Packers? How is it different from Geno?
The Packers are very familiar with us. It seems like we play them every year, right? And it always seems like we're playing them over there. I don't like that. But it's I don't think too much changes, but I think what we have in our favor is that Waldron has changed a bit, and he's provided and stuck by the run a little more, which it's helped the whole team out, to tell you the truth. From a defensive standpoint, it's kept them off the field, allowed them to be fresh. Like I told you in the first few games, we were playing 70, 80 snaps. I don't care who you are and how good you are. If you're playing 80 snaps, you're going to tire down. And so we've been fresh, and we've had, to Ben's point, we've been in all three of the games that we, have not had Russ. And then, two of them came down to the last possession. You got to believe that, I love Geno. He's done a hell of a job. And, I think, Geno is a starting caliber quarterback in this league. When you look around the league, I think he's proven that in the last few games that he deserves the opportunity to start again somewhere. But, I'd prefer to have him here as a backup. But, when Russ comes in, it's especially the way he just works the game, whether making a check or making a play with his legs or, taking the shot down the field. He gives you a lot to be worried about, and then I guess, so does their guy that should be playing too.
Yeah, we'll get into him in a little bit. So you're telling me that possibly the moon ball might be back?
Now I just wonder if the velocity, if you can grip. I mean, but you've seen the size of his mitts, He's still got three other fingers and a thumb to throw it with, but that, that middle finger is pretty pivotal in throwing the ball.
Oh, I'm excited to see it, guys. It's back and it's fresh. It's been waiting. It's ready to go. Hey, speaking of fresh, check out this hat I'm rocking today, guys. I wanted to point this out because our friends at Simply Seattle, they hooked us up with this hat so that we could give it away or raffle it off, and we will. But, dude, Kraken colors, Seahawk logo. See the red on top here? I mean, pretty sweet, right, guys?
That's dope.
Yeah, just saying. Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out to I got who do I got on right now? I got Walt Jones. Best to ever do it.
All
Shout out to the best to ever do it. Yeah, let me throw that forward for my guy.
Hey, speaking of one of the best to ever do it, OBJ. I mean, what's going to happen with this? Is this going to happen? And do you want it to happen?
Oh, well, you take that one first.
Oh, OBJ. You always want a playmaker receiver. Listen, Seahawks are known and notorious for getting guys to come in. You go back to especially Pete's days. He had brought in Mike Williams. He brought in Sidney Rice. He brought in Percy Harvin. Like, this is nothing, T.O. He brought in T.O. at one point. Yeah. Right. So this is nothing new for Pete Carroll to bring in guys that may have a little controversy, a little edge to them, but they still can get the most out of them. I think OBJ still has plenty left in the tank, too. You think about the last couple of years over here with Cleveland, he had some injuries, but his ability to catch a slant, his ability to, do the underneath stuff, it can really open up a lot for a DK and Lockett and really give Russ just another option, especially now with his finger. If he has to throw the ball short and get quick passes out, he can, a guy like OBJ is still a game changer, man. So I think this is the kind of, we've always said it before, the Seattle locker room, Pete Carroll, he's the kind of coach that can handle guys like an OBJ, guys that come with a lot of flair, a lot of, notoriety. He also want the ball a lot too, but I think in this stage of the Seahawks season, why not give it a shot and see what can happen?
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. And you would know being a receiver for sure. But I with these superstars that have come in, it burns fast, it burns bright, but it burns quick, and then it burns out spectacularly usually. Lofa, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of Sid just got hurt, right? I mean,
right, yeah,
but I mean, if
Percy Harvin.
Yeah, well, that's where I was going to go with the next one was, Percy, the big contract, phenomenal talent. I'm talking like generational talent. Sure. And it only lasted, a year and a half? I think, by that second season, it was pretty much over. I won the Super Bowl, so, I mean, can't complain.
Hey, no.
Yeah.
Got the chip, but, I mean.
Yeah, sign me up. If that means we're going back to the Super Bowl, sign me up. But, I just wonder if, is it maybe now that this is Russ's team, it's more mature because he was a rookie, right? Or even like second year when Purse was brought in. So is he more mature and is he able to, handle? And I think that's kind of what's been the disconnect over there in Cleveland. And, the first game that he was not in the roster or in the lineup, Baker, I don't want to say goes off. He has a good game. They put up 41 points. That defense, really got after, the Bengals. But it's just like, when he missed the last half of last season, that offense started to take off with Landry and the rest of the guys. So I wonder, but yeah, when it comes to just sheer talent, OBJ is still up there, and
What
so
about-
anybody saying that they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Hey, I'm not saying
No, but there's a lot of reports out there. They're like,
Okay.
he's not, he hasn't had a great season in 4 years. Yeah, statistically, but I mean, yeah, he's always open. I mean, and that's probably got to be the infuriating thing.
Even when he's not open, he's open. Throw him the ball.
Oh yeah, he'll make the play. But I mean, there was a whole montage. Did you see the whole montage of clips? That was yeah. So I'm saying, I mean, it was like 10 minutes of clips of wide open.
Yeah. Here's the question though: financials. What about the financials of it all though? Because if you put in the waiver claim, I mean, what is it, 7.25, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, it's almost like contract. 8, I think, right?
Yeah. San Francisco, they said that they're not into it for the financials, so they already said they're like, we're not putting in a claim. I mean, what about that? Or do you just take a run at it because you want to make a run at the playoffs? Is this Seahawks team even worth that kind of investment right now, guys?
With where we're at with Russ's finger and the unknown of it, no, I don't think so. I think that's something that you have to take consideration is we don't know if Russ is going to even make it through the rest of the season. I'm just being honest. He's coming back really early from an injury that, should have been 6 to 8 weeks for a normal person. Russ is Superman. So, I mean, he's back in 5. But you don't know. I mean, Russ is a guy that's getting 30 a year, right? In the best interest of our franchise is like, hey, if he's not ready to go, we're going to have to sit him back down and, save him from himself, so to speak. So
then why spend all that money?
I don't know if you go and spend out, on another receiver.
And also, his contract is up after this season, right? And the Seahawks with off-season negotiations and superstar players and stuff, like, I don't know if I want to go through all of that. And if we lose in the first round of the playoffs, but spend 7.25 to do it, I mean, Ben, what do you think about the financials here?
Financials, man, we got, like you said, for this year, you can kind of rent OBJ for the rest of the season. And I think we talked about before with the guys that Snyder has brought in over the years. I can see them making a move for a spark, just to bring in some another talent, to bring in another person. Even like you said, Lofa, in the case that Russell, has another flare with that injury and is not as successful as he wants to be. Hey, you still got another player. You still put fans, keep fans involved, keep the fan base, the team kind of excited about another player, another piece for Gino if he has to come back in and get some playing time. So from that aspect, I think
tickets. There would be some.
They'll sell tickets. Jerseys.
It would be exciting. It would.
Player. And I think that's kind of how I looked at it. Like long term, does he fit? Probably not. Do they sign him to a long? Do a sign and extend his contract if he were to sign with the Seahawks? I don't think so. Like we talked about, Pete usually does like a one and done kind of deal, figures it the first year with a player, and I think that's what would happen with OBJ. He'll get a chance to come in if they make that move. Come in, give it a spark, have some a little buzz around Seattle and around the Seahawks a little bit, and if he works out, great. If not, you'll see some of the same things you saw with Percy, where active and inactive. Is he playing? Is he not playing? That, like Lofa said, takes a toll on your team. But if the season's not looking that well, 3 or 4 weeks from now, then it's just another, it's not a lose-lose situation for the Seahawks.
It's an expensive rental at that point. It's paying for the upgrade to get the convertible while you're in town, and you had a little fun, and then it was over.
Well, and Russ has been a big,
$7.25 million.
Russ he's been a fan of OBJ, right? In terms of, if he were to be available, just like AB. I know Russ was champion for him, and my thoughts. I would have loved AB here.
That would have been great.
Oh my God! So could you imagine OBJ, DK, and Lockett?
Well, okay, but this is my next question, Ben. I mean, because take us inside the receiver room. Sorry, Lofa. I was just gonna say, how does it work? Not that Ben was, but receivers can, be a little sensitive sometimes, or a little.
Did you say diva? What'd you say?
Egos that are, possibly.
He said. I could have swore I heard diva.
We have some. I didn't say that. We have some superstars right now with DK and Tyler, and so Ben, take us inside that receiver room. I mean, what about chemistry, and what about who gets touches, and do people get bent out of shape? How does this all work?
Listen, you said it. I'll say it. We are divas. I'm a diva right now. Listen, I tell my wife all the time, man. Like, I'm wide open. I tell my kids, I'm open. I'm always open.
I'm open.
In the kitchen, I'm open. Show me
He's
that.
still running
now.
around the house.
I'm home with myself, man. So listen.
Throw me the damn Cheerios.
Yeah. So listen, I think with the receivers, you're right. That is going to be a problem. Just to be honest with you, no matter how much we sugarcoated, I played in a pack receiver room when I first got to the Seahawks. Man, we had Darrell Jackson, we had Nate Brosen, we had Bobby Ingram, we signed Deion Branch, and here's me, the little guy, saying, "All right, well, doing the math, I may be able to get a screen or something in the fourth quarter of a blowout, maybe." So I think you look at this team now, and the way, especially DCAP. DCAP has emerged as a strong, big, physical, dominant receiver who wants the ball and wants the ball early and often in the game. I think that's where you kind of get into the rift a little bit. Will OBJ, and I think going back to this time in Cleveland, will OBJ be able to accept, being the third guy in that receiver room? Everybody's going to welcome him with open arms when you first get there. But once you start looking at that play sheet going into the week, start getting closer to Saturday, they start scripting plays. Guys start looking around, start saying, "All right, let me do the math. I don't have as many targets as this guy. They're trying to feature somebody else over me," and that's when you get into the button heads a little bit. And it won't come at the receivers. We never kind of butt heads with each other, but it goes straight to Waldron. They'll go straight to the offense coordinator.
There's a few knocks on the OC's door, like, "Hey, what's the game plan this week, Coach?"
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you said, Russell is kind of on Waldron and Russell, to be honest with you. If they can handle another personality coming in, demanding the football, finding a way to give him the ball, that'll be the biggest issue is how can Russell and Waldron handle another personality, another diva on the sideline who's going to demand the football and take some catches away from somebody else.
Well, Lofa, though, for DK and Tyler, maybe it's a good thing because he would draw some attention away from them. And defensively, they might scheme a little different against DK and Tyler, and that might lead to some more receptions.
I mean, these are three guys that are all used to being features, right? Like they 10 plus targets, and to go down and maybe get 5, 6, it's tough. I really love the way we used, Lockett and DK the last game. It's not that Lockett doesn't care about touchdowns, but he needs volume. Get him going. And what DK needs is the shot at the end zone because he's a big body. He's going to go up. He's going to moss people just like he did last week or 2 weeks ago. And so that's the thing is how they're used in the game plan, I think, is equally important. And if you bring a guy now, I love Freddie Swain. He's really, this is a guy, Obo. I mean, maybe you could speak to what you've seen with him, but he's impressed and he's been one of these gems like yourself and, a Baldwin, a Curse, a guy that either drafted late rounds or came in undrafted and, just continuing to make plays in all phases of the game. And so what would OBJ, he comes in, is Swain because that he does a lot on teams for us too, whether it's in the return game or making tackles like you did. So
and D. Eskridge too, right? Top draft pick. He's coming back this week too. So I mean,
are we sure he's coming back? Where's that guy been?
I know, right? He's only played in one game, I think. But Obo, what about Freddie Swain and those guys, the kind of more utility type guys? What's this mean for them?
Yeah, I think those are the guys that get lost in the shuffle a little bit. Like Lofa said, you can game plan and still get Lockett and DK and potentially OBJ the ball. When you get down to Freddie Swain and others, that's when you have to build morale a little bit because guys like us who are, special team guys who know that we're going to get, maybe 3 or 4 targets a game. We got to make those 3 or 4 targets the best targets we can get. We know we're going to get open and run hard. We go down and we make a play on special teams. Typically, the coaches kind of see it and they say, "Hey, he's having a decent game on special teams. Let's give him the ball on offense now." Sure. And when you take it away, you kind of take away that personality and that hunger and that fight from a guy who's contributing on special teams, who's making tackles, who's returning punts and kicks. And so, like Lofa said, if you can try to still find a way to get those guys the ball and get them involved some kind of ways, it's not enough footballs to go around. And I think that's always a problem for the receiving room. We want you to throw the ball 40 times a game. I don't think that's like we mentioned earlier, running the ball, helps the defense get off the field, helps the team kind of set up some of those play action shots down the field. I just don't know for the rest of the guys. At some point, it won't be, DK and Lockett who take the brunt of another receiver in the room. It'd be those other guys who were just as, involved in the play schemes each week, them taking a smaller role, and then how to keep them motivated to still be contributors on special teams. That's always a tough needle to thread.
Well, let's look at the other team, the team that will be playing a little bit. So Seahawks at Packers this week. I mean, Seahawks and Packers, like Lofa said, it feels like we play all the time. Crazy stuff happens when we play. There's the NFC Championship game, the big comeback, of course. There's the Hail Mary. I mean, you guys, if the Seahawks, and we all know what happened later in the Super Bowl, but if they go ahead and close out that deal there on the goal line with the Patriots, that might also be one of the greatest NFC Championship games ever. You know,
it's still one of the greatest.
No, it is, but I'm just saying. I mean, when you look back on it,
the most meaningful one, I guess, is what you would, but
totally.
It was still incredible.
But just classics, with these two teams down the stretch. And this week is no different. It's been a crazy week for both teams. There's all of the insanity with Karen Rodgers going on, Aaron Rodgers. What did I
just piling it on?
Who put a K in the prompter?
He reads it all. That must have been Katie.
Yeah, a lot of craziness going on this week. What are your general thoughts on this one? I mean, it's Packers Seattle, right? It's classic.
It's classic with a lot of drama around the whole thing. Like you said, we already talked about the Russell coming back, right? And so now with Aaron, to figure out, I think even still, people have always said, what does the NFL do with its superstars when they, get in trouble or have some kind of issue? And people have wondered, all right, is he? I think they said before that he won't be cleared until early as Saturday. But now you got Aaron Rodgers without 2 full weeks of practice coming back. He's still good enough; he can do it. But without 2 full weeks of practice, a game plan that they're probably having Jordan Love do a game plan that's really for Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
The media, question that he'll have to take before the game, after the game. So there'll be all this swirling, things around. I wouldn't be surprised if they could have. They probably would have made it a flex game to get it on prime time for all.
Right.
Sure, yeah, I can't believe they haven't. I mean, probably not late.
They probably will.
Yeah.
No,
I think too late. It's not late enough in the season, I think.
I think week 12 is when they start flexing, right?
But I think like you said, with Aaron coming back, the Packers have their own situation too. All the we always talk about the outside noise in the locker room. Aaron's brought a lot of outside noise that's not needed. The players got to talk about it, before practice, after practice. The receivers got to talk about, who's vaccinated, who's not, and what are the new protocols. Has something changed? Everything besides football that they have to talk about going into the week. The coach has to figure out, I'm practicing Jordan Love, but in my back pocket, I think Aaron's going to play. The league has to figure out, are they actually going to let him play on Saturdays? Will it be cleared enough to play? Yeah. So I think, that could work to the Seahawks' advantage with all the, distraction that we have had with Russell coming back. I think Green Bay is just as with this rival. You add another flair, another wrinkle into it of, the quarterbacks, the superstar Hall of Fame quarterbacks both returning for another big primetime game.
Yeah, and what do you guys make of like this from like a teammate perspective? I mean, politics aside, opinion aside, vaccinations, COVID, this, that, whatever. No, not really like opinion based is what I want to ask. Because whatever. We could be sitting here talking about that forever. But just in terms of a distraction, just in terms of a guy in the locker room who's just creating all of this stuff, like Ben said, Lofa. It has to kind of trickle down to the rest of the guys, doesn't it?
I mean, the fact.
And what would you think if one of your captains, or especially your quarterback, is kind of the one creating it?
Well, it's tough to sit here and say it, now that I'm not playing anymore, right? Well, what I would have, because you take it back, to when I was playing. Yeah, I would have done whatever I could to, I don't know. It's personal opinion now these days, right? And it's really. Because I have a totally different opinion of what I would have done then when playing and now that I have kids. So, I'm not here to judge anybody and what they want to do.
No, but as a teammate, if you're a teammate of a guy,
As a teammate, like Ben said, you're going to have to talk about it. The reporters, they want stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
They really don't give a shit about the X's and O's. They want to talk about, hey, well, what do you think about this? How do you feel? I'm not here to talk about feelings. I'm here to talk about fucking football. All right. That's how I've always been. And Obo knows that. And so, but unfortunately, the distraction is what it is now. But on top of the points, and then I'll let Obo answer that question for you. But I wanted to go off of what Obo was saying to those things that were to our benefit in terms of, Aaron, not 2 weeks and not practicing. The only thing I could think of is, man, he's had 2 weeks to just dissect our film. And the guy knows how to make the throws. He's one of the best. And so I feel like it's like a double-edged sword there. Like, yes, it does benefit us, but only if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
Because,
no, I hear you.
Because I just go back to thinking the last time we did see him play, he beat Arizona with his top 3 receivers out. Adams, Lazard, I mean, like almost everybody was out, and he still beat Arizona when they were undefeated. So
I guess, I mean, my question is, and again, like opinions aside, it's just when you kind of the leader of the team, the quarterback, I mean, he's not vaccinated, it's like it takes him away from the team. It takes them away from maybe their goals, where they're going this season. I mean, it could lead to more and more losses. And I just think, wouldn't you just look at the guy and be like, hey, man, come on, like, let's all row together here and get to the same place. I mean, Ben, like, what do you think about this kind of thing? How would you handle this as a teammate?
No, I'm with you. I think with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, to be honest with you, man, I feel the same way with guys like Lofa. You only say so much before you start realizing, like, hey, they are the man. They are the captain. They have that seal. We voted them with that seal in their chest for a reason. And so in that regard, I honestly, in answering questions, I would do like Lofa. I'll try to keep everything X's and O's. Just a plain, mundane answer. The reporter's not going to keep pressing you for something until they get the sound bite or the headline they want. But I think honestly though, with Aaron, you trust him. I think you'll find out as the week goes on. The players trust him. They love him. They think that he, whatever decision he chose is the right decision for him. They think it's the right decision for their team. They can handle. They can move on. And like you said, like Lofa talked about too, in terms of practice, they're looking at it too. When you have quarterbacks like Russell, quarterbacks like Aaron, they're pretty much an extension of the offense coordinator. They are the offense coordinator, so to speak. So when you get to that moment of Aaron still being around, Aaron still being a part of the game plan, still having his touches on whatever we're going to do from the last couple of years having played Seattle, the players look at it as in, hey, I'm pretty sure Aaron's going to be ready to play on Sunday when it's kickoff time. So I can care less about the media, the noise, the outside noise. It's just tough when those guys have to deal with it. I think Aaron's going to be fine. He can deal with it. He'll have his press conference and be fine. But those other guys, I think the coaching staff, usually as a player, we try to come around and figure, all right, here's what is our one line, what's our answer, what's our kind of guiding post to how to answer these questions. The media personnel from the facility have probably already set every teammate down and had, here's your form answer. Here's how you direct the question.
Oh, we got sent this.
Lean on PR, baby. Lean on PR.
Yeah,
so,
we'll tell you what to say.
Yeah, they'll tell you what to say. So I think from that standpoint, it's more the outside noise, and you may get one or two detractors that come in and actually give a sound bite, and then they'll make more issues for themselves than they would for Aaron Rodgers, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we're only talking about it because it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like, other people have missed plenty of games from COVID.
Yep.
Nobody's talking about it.
Well, because it's not really the quarterback and wearing the C on his chest, and
there's been fucking head coaches missing games, bro. Like, I see this. I'm just like tired of talking about COVID. Like, it's so crazy.
But a lot of those people who have missed games have already taken the precautions necessary to try to not miss those games. And
what did it do? That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I deal in facts, bro. I just deal in facts.
I am as well, and I'm just saying that. When you find out that he's not really taking the precautions that he could to help try to prevent it, then, I mean, you never know what could have happened. I want to ask you guys about playing at Lambeau Field. What's it like playing at Lambeau Field? Because you always just hear about how amazing Lambeau Field is, and what's it like?
Hey, I'll say something. For me, Lofa played there pretty times and had some good moments. Let me jump in, Lofa. Let the young guy speak, man.
Yeah, I don't even know. Did I ever win at Lambeau?
No.
Maybe once. Damn. No, I hated it. No, go ahead, Ben.
I won like a preseason game in Lambeau Field before. I'll tell you that.
Don't get me started on preseason.
Yeah, preseason game. But no, one of my fondest memories, man, for me playing Lambeau, because you always hear about it. You always hear about the city and trying to figure out the stadium and where it is. And then all of a sudden, I remember, driving up to the stadium, through this residential neighborhood and trying to figure out, like, where's the stadium? Where's this old, Lambeau Field everybody talks about? Then all of a sudden, the stadium pops up. And I'm like, wow, you can park in somebody's backyard, somebody's driveway.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how the whole thing's set up.
There's a cul-de-sac. There's a stadium at the end of it.
And it's just a wide open field in the stadium. It's like nuts.
It's crazy. I like this, though. I don't know if you remember, Lofa, we played a playoff game. Maybe it was 2007, right? 2007, we played a playoff game there. And I remember, for me personally, I had a pretty good experience just because you always think about Lambeau Field. I remember when I was getting drafted, Green Bay called and they asked, for a receiver like me from the South, can you play in the cold? Can you catch, ice cold footballs? Can you play in the snow? And so we played that playoff game. I don't remember, Lofa. It was snowing. The snow started coming down. I think
we're up 14-0, and then
14-0.
The snow came down.
What was that? I think Deion Branch had a torn ACL. Nate Brosen went down. So here I am in a playoff game, running routes and running plays that were designed for our two superstars who are now, benched on the sideline. So for me, just getting that experience of playing in the snow, catching passes in the playoff game, even though it wasn't the outcome we wanted, I never got a win there. But it did make it this nostalgic moment of I played in Green Bay in the snow in a playoff game, no sleeves. That whole kind of mantra from a receiver, like, no, I'm going to be tough and play there too. That. So that's the great part about thinking about Lambeau Field, playing in late December, January in the snow. Nothing better than that.
Well, we know Lofa wasn't wearing sleeves, right? There's no way you had sleeves on.
Absolutely not.
No way.
It was 14-0, and the snow came down. It was a tough one to take. Guys just slipping and falling all over the place. But it was what you imagine, right? And then just like Ben said, the drive in, the atmosphere, it's insane, especially for a playoff game.
Well, Mike Holmgren Avenue too.
Well, you go down Mike Holmgren Way or Avenue, right? So that's the way to get there. And he's your head coach too. So it means a little more, to him. And so it was. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win, but man, it was an incredible experience. And just like, it had to be at least like a half a foot of snow or a foot of snow by the time the game was over.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Don't they have heating coils or something under the field? Or
they
don't really work that well.
Nah, they were like clearing off the line markers so you could at least see, where every 5 yards was. But and then you look across the field. You got Brett Favre, you got Donald Driver, some of the all-time greats, it was pretty insane.
I hope you both have awesome pictures of yourselves playing in that game, because with the snow coming down, I mean, I know it was a loss, but
Yeah, I have one. You can have it.
Pretty epic. Oh, okay.
Get it out of my house.
I'll keep it mine.
Okay.
Keep it mine.
Well, hey, look, a lot happened in the NFL over the bye week. Let's take a look around the division real quick, because the NFC West, I mean, the Cardinals just keep rolling on. No Kyler Murray, no DeAndre Hopkins, no problem for the Cardinals. They whooped on
Colt McCoy.
And Colt McCoy, man. And he beat us last year too with the Giants, wasn't it?
Yes,
so,
it was.
He's a problem for us, and Arizona just keeps winning, guys. Who's going to stop Arizona this year?
Hopefully themselves. But Colt, he came in at one point, he was 20 of 24. It almost looked identical to Geno's game against the Jags. A couple touchdowns and just, great movement with the offense. And they seemingly did whatever they wanted. So it's, like I said, that was the only team that I was scared of coming into this year. That's the only team I'm still scared of. Because even without Kyler, they're just getting it done.
Well, Colt McCoy and Josh Johnson played games. It was like, what year is it?
Oh, yeah.
Ben, what about Arizona? I mean, they look great.
Hey, winning is contagious, man. I think that's what's going on with them now. When for Kyler to go out and then have Colt McCoy come in, the receivers are stepping up. It's that mentality of winning, right? And the NFC West has always been about, creating this winning culture. The Rams had their run. Arizona had runs. I think I've always seen that where, San Francisco had a run and made it to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. So now it's kind of every year is kind of that, turning table of who's going to be the NFC West team to take that stance and make a run to the Super Bowl. But I think that's what you're seeing in Arizona is just confidence kind of builds itself each week. And when guys start missing, other guys start stepping up. They have, J.J. Watt, some other people in that locker room that were still have a lot of, football game experience. And that's what you're seeing more than anything else. That NFL teams is cyclical where you have that turnover and who's your leaders? You think it's the Seahawks team now, and what guys are on the Seahawks team have played in those two Super Bowls? I think only 3 or 4, 2 maybe. I think, and so that's what you're getting back now. Is now the Seahawks have to kind of build at some point that same momentum, that same kind of confidence of winning attitude. And so far, Arizona's kind of taking the lead and they've got some wins under their belt. They've got some wins now without some of their star players. So that's just going to feed into more and more of them having a winning attitude in the season. The only question is, when it comes to playoff time, I don't know about you, Lofa. I just don't trust them in the playoffs. Like they don't have the got to win the big game.
I hear you. And then, we can talk about another team I don't trust in the playoffs. That's the Rams.
Yeah,
and
that's where I was going to next. Man.
Yeah, I know you were.
The Titans defense almost beat them by themselves.
They pretty much did.
They
and
did.
The big free agent acquisition that everybody's, oh my God, he's in the MVP race. Well, what happened in the big game? Right? And this was just a Sunday night game. This wasn't even the playoffs.
Lofa's coming after Stafford again. Watch out. Duck, everybody.
Just saying, bro. I'm just saying. And I mean, it's just wild to me that they didn't even have Derrick Henry. They had Adrian Peterson, who's been there for 2 days.
Yeah, and that was at home. That was in L.A.
At home. Watch out.
With the yellow pants on.
That's all I'm saying. Watch out. Yeah, and then they just got Von Miller, who didn't play. And it's wild, but Denver gets rid of Von Miller, and their pass rush comes to life. What's that about? Like, all-time best pass rusher, right? Goes over, and Denver goes out and just smashes Dallas. So it was a crazy week in football in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then
Bills, Jags.
And in the NFC West. Yeah, I was going to say Bills, Jags. I mean, we just saw the Jags. Mike Holmgren, I think on KJR, said that it was like some of the worst football he's ever seen in his life, that game against us with the Jags, how the Jags played, meaning. But, I mean, then they go in and beat Buffalo. Like, the league is crazy.
Hey, it's another quarterback I'm not too big on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying. There's a trend here.
Wow.
Lofa's building his list of quarterbacks he doesn't really – isn't too fond of. Well, we'll see what happens, this weekend and everything around the NFC West and with the Seahawks. But right now, let's zone in, everybody. We zone in because Lofa's company is Zone In CBD, the best CBD in the business. Go to zoneincbd.com. Sign up for your subscription if you want. You can also just get individual bottles of capsules, or there's the tinctures or the topicals, whatever you got out there. Use our promo code.
Believe. Still the same, BLEAV.
For 20% off of your purchases at zoneincbd.com. You can also pick it up in person at any Bartell drugstores. Guys, I want to zone in on teammates because you guys were teammates. Lofa, take us inside that locker room on the day, or when was the day that you noticed finally, maybe the 6'1", 204-pounder from Auburn that is Ben Obomanu. Do you remember?
I was well aware of Ben even before
the
NFL because, Auburn was on top of the nation, just as SC was. And so when we were able to add, him in the draft, and I think the special thing about Ben was, just like he said, the wide receiver, we had a lot of money in there, a lot of star power. And, it's hard to make a roster at the receiver spot when they're like, hey, we're gonna ask you, we need more special teams. You're gonna go in the 30 or so plays you're going in, maybe 15, 20 of them are runs, and so making the most of your opportunities is something that Ben did. And I mean, I believe if he got the opportunity, he would have been an 80, 90 catch guy, and because there was nothing that Ben couldn't do. Well, there wasn't a route he couldn't run. There wasn't. It was hell going against him if he, blocked you on a crack toss. Like it was, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, Ben, do you remember the day that you saw number 51 out there on the practice field, or was it in the locker room, or you remember that time?
Oh, it was the locker room. I think as like Lofa said, we played each other in college, and, we didn't fare so well. So it was already a thing coming in of, the big Lofa Tatupu, the Pro Bowler as a rookie, Super Bowl, a Super Bowl caliber team coming into was already tough. And so when I first came in the locker room, it wasn't just I walked in and I saw, as a young kid out of college, I'm seeing Sean Alexander, who's on the cover of Madden, that I was just playing, and that me and all my boys were playing Madden in college, and here's my teammate now.
So you came in, it was the year after the Pittsburgh Super Bowl? Okay. Yeah,
it was my first year. So coming in and seeing that, and then, like I said, Hasselbeck and going back to, like I said, rookie year, we had Deion Branch, who was a former Super Bowl MVP. The biggest thing was going back and looking across the line and across the locker room, really seeing Lofa and all those guys that we had, Ken Hamlin, a whole bunch of other guys we had on the team that were studs. And like I said, just a couple months earlier, I was watching all these guys playing the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's what made it starstruck for me, is like, I'm coming in the locker room and I saw Lofa playing the Super Bowl. I saw, I remember Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander, all these guys playing the Super Bowl.
Jones, Trufant, right?
Trufant. And it's crazy for me. I've always been this way, and probably even more so. I don't know if you don't even realize it. I've always hung out more with my defensive teammates than I have my offensive teammates for some reason. So for me, it was going straight to people like Lofa as a rookie. And, man, it was amazing to me to have a teammate like Lofa who you're a rookie and you see all these guys that are Pro Bowlers, guys that, have done well for themselves, who have just gone to Super Bowl. You just kind of get a little timid a little bit and hang around the guys. Lofa's one of those guys, teammates for me, that he would let us hang out with him, and not just in the locker room, but off the field. He would come into the house and watch football games, Thursday night games, and Monday night games with Lofa. So I've always appreciated that, where a defensive guy taking in us young rookies and letting us know that, hey, even though I'm a Pro Bowler, even though I made it to the Super Bowl as a rookie and did all these great things, hey, I just want to hang out and kick it with you. And so that's what made Lofa so much special as a teammate. He's still Lofa today. The same guy you see now, the same guy he was, even with all the accolades and the Pro Bowls under his belt.
Well, and as a fan, let me just zone in on you guys real quick and that team, because you guys know that those Seahawks teams are the reason that these Seahawks teams are so popular. And your guys' chemistry and the fun that you played with and the fun that we all thought you were having off the field, which I now kind of know you all were having, is the reason that those teams became so popular. And I mean, it's why there's Blue Friday, and that's why these Seahawks are so well supported. So, shout out to you guys and your teams. Ben, we like to ask people, especially former players, of course, like, did you have a favorite play when you were playing? What's the one play that sticks out in your mind?
Favorite play? I was always the smash route, the concept. So it's a concept for me, the smash concept. Playing in the slot, and it's kind of a win-win. If you get the right coverage, you can actually do pretty well. And if it wasn't the smash route, it just was the clear out post, low for the inside guy, run the corner route. The outside guy runs a post. So we call it scissors. Sometimes.
Scissors, yeah.
Yep. So I usually like that just because you line me up in the slot, you put another speed guy on the outside. Most times you're in the slot, either you're matched up against a safety if it's of a blitz, and that should be an easy win. A safety can't really cover that much space. If you get a nickel cornerback, same thing. They may not necessarily be, the star-studded lockdown corner on the outside, but it gives you a route for me, running straight, running hard, utilizing my speed, opening up my stride, being able to stick to the post, and then go to the corner. And as you see with Lockett and Russell Wilson now, when a quarterback can just throw the ball up toward the sideline, you know where the ball is going to go, 20 to 25 yards down the field, on the sideline. It's just for me, I was always one of those guys that liked that route because I can utilize my speed, get a good stick, and then I can look up for the ball. It wasn't
go track it, right?
It wasn't like a velocity. There wasn't no window or anything. No, the ball's going to be that way, 25 yards down the field, and it's going to be a foot race.
I'm telling you, Ben, I'm not making
look at that.
Right. Look at that catch right there. We're looking at pictures. Ben, I'm not kidding you when I tell you that I played a lot of Madden back in the day, and there was a play action scissors that I used to run all the time, and you were catching balls all over the field, even digitally. I'm not even making that up. I remember that play specifically. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't the exact play that you guys ran, but it was the Madden.
No, it was the exact same play.
And it was called play PA scissors. I remember. I used to just run that play, then flip it to the other side of the field, run it again.
Run it to the other big side of the field. But I mean, that was the beauty of our offense and the guys that, like Ben and Haas and the true West Coast, where I'm talking, you got to be at a spot and you better be there on time. And the ball is being released well before Ben ever turns his head, and it's going to be where he expects it. It's poetry in motion, man. Poetry. It is some of the most beautiful, football.
Well, that's the stuff that we want with this Seahawks team, right? Like throw it early.
There's a lot of trust. There's a lot of trust that goes into that. And, you can't – if you're waiting for a receiver to turn around and, lock eyes before you, rip it, I don't care how strong your arm is, it's too late. That's how fast the DBs, and even some of the linebackers now are in this game. But back then, it was 10-yard out. That ball is thrown. When he puts his foot in that ground, it's already on its way, halfway there, and it's going to be right at your chest. And, I mean, it was frustrating to go against, but it was amazing to watch on Sundays.
Well, we'll see what happens this Sunday. The last thing we have to do before we get out of here is make our predictions. We do this every week, and you guys can make your predictions on our Instagram in the comments section. Intern Brian, shout out Intern Brian. We'll be putting the graphic up this Sunday, so look for it. It's a matchup graphic. It'll be obviously the Seahawks and the Packers logos on there, and you guys Put your predictions in our comments, and if anyone nails it perfectly, right on the money, we will buy you an official Seahawk jersey Seahawk jersey. I was going to say or Packer jersey, but no, the hell with that.
Yeah, not a Packer jersey.
If you nail it right on. So, guys, let's get to it. Predictions for this game.
I'm going to go Hawks, obviously. 28-27. I mean, you know, if it's going to come down to the last possession, I feel like it's going to go to number 3 right there. He's going to get it done.
Okay. Ben, we'll save yours for last here. I have no reason for this at all. I just hope that we win, and I don't know if it's gonna be high scoring, low scoring. The quarterbacks haven't even practiced. It's like crazy. I'm just gonna say Seahawks 19, Green Bay 13. A good old fashioned ugly Green Bay Seattle game in Green Bay with penalties and probably just like all kinds of insanity all over the place.
Well, if it's the same refs from last night, then yeah.
This episode without me going off on Tony Carenti. But I'm gonna bite my tongue. And predictions for the game?
Hey, I got the Seahawks too, man. I got it 31-28. I got it coming down dramatic fashion. Russell takes the team down a game-winning drive, game-winning field goal. I do say this though: we're gonna leave Aaron Rodgers some time on the clock, but he's just gonna come up short, man. That's how we're gonna get the win.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, a little cherry and whipped cream on top of that prediction with some extra stuff. I love it, guys. Thank you so much. That's a wrap on the Seahawks podcast this week, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you have questions or comments, it's seahawkspod@gmail.com. We read them all. Thank you for sending them. Also, check us out on all social media at Believe in Seahawks. Lofa, break us down, please.
Oh, so many choices. So we break it down. We're going to go with wide receivers are not divas on 3. In honor of my dog here. And all the guys, everybody I play with, Nate B, Poosh, some of the biggest savages, Lil Dirty, Deion Branch, some of the big, Bobby Ingram, Joey J, Joker, biggest savages I've ever met. So... you know what? We're just going to go savages on 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that.
I don't even want the word diva associated with my guys. Savages on 3. 1, 2, 3. Savages.
Tony Green.